What's up, everybody? It's Indigon, and I am back with another PCGS unboxing. This is not a blind unboxing, and I will not be doing this one live, but I figured I'd go over this latest submission with you, see what we got, see how I did, and yeah, you can let me know your thoughts. So this first one is something you don't usually see on this channel, a Roosevelt dime, and it's definitely toned. Got some very pretty tone in there. It's got some beautiful obverse tone. That splotchy orange mixed in with the purples and the blues. Very pretty tone to it. Just not a fan of the Roosevelt series. But this one, rated Mint State 66. And all these will have the true view on them, in case you're wondering. I will put those up right now for this one. So as you can see, this one had the true view on it, and I hope this one did pretty good. Actually, this one shows off fairly well. I was kind of hoping for a Mint State 67, but you see those two marks on the eyebrow and the one under the eye. The tone does a pretty good job of hiding it, but let's zoom in a little bit, right here and right over the eyebrow. Kind of see those marks a little bit where the light changes color. So see the one on the cheek, and then if I can get the eyebrow to catch the light. At any rate, a little bit too much chatter on this one for 67, but I will definitely take a 66 with the tone and the true view. Overall, really happy with that one. Next up is another Roosevelt, and this one has a really nice bullseye tone to it. It's got some orange, some blues, not really full bands, although it's pretty close. You see that bottom one's a little bit weak right there. The obverse, again, nice, pretty bullseye tone. Just kind of take a step back. It's really attractively toned. Nice 54. Got that blue and the purple and the orange. This one's definitely very, very pretty. Again, a Mint State 66. And again, I will put the true view up right now. All right, next up, we have a coin, and this one shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but this one was kind of an experiment for me. So you see how relatively clean this coin is as far as hits. There's one in the wing right here, this left wing, and there's one on the knee. And overall on the obverse, it's very, very detracting, mark free, very clean, but there's just no discernible luster. It's just terrible. I mean, there's almost nothing there from a luster standpoint. I think the reverse is even worse than the obverse, and that doesn't usually happen. Usually it's the other way around, but this one had basically no luster to it. It does have a little bit of mark out in front of the eye there. So this one got a Mint State 64. I think mark-wise, it's probably nice enough for a 5, except for maybe the marks in front of the field there. But just no luster to speak of. So throw the true view up now. All right, next up, we have a coin that definitely is not lacking in luster. This one is beautiful. It's got some really nice light toning on the reverse here. Definitely attractive. It is a Philadelphia, and it is a type A, but it is a 1958, and this one came out, I believe this one was a mint set coin. So see that real pretty blue and purple. It'll probably show up a lot better on the True View, but see, it does have kind of that skin look to it, that original skin, but there's some really pretty blues in there, some purples, a little bit of orange, and this one, Mint State 66. All right, next up, this one is definitely got some luster to it. Beautiful gold, an orange tone to it. Very phoenix looking eagle there. Very, very clean mark-free coin. On the reverse, again, Philadelphia. And again, a mint set example. This one, a 1956, again with the blue and the orange. Got that original mint set kind of look to it, but you see how it's kind of got some marks on the cheek there. A little bit of a scratch look to it. Very small bag mark. One in the hairline. But very attractive toner. Very nice looking coin. I think this one might be worth getting, seeing if they'll green bean it, honestly, just with the tone. But this one is a Mint State 66. All right, next up, we have something different, something I don't usually have on this channel at all, is a memorial cent, a Lincoln memorial cent. So definitely a red example, very pretty. This one is a 1972. So this one I bought, as probably quite a few of you know, from Sean, so Blue Ridge Silverhound off of Whatnot. And this is an FS 103. And I will take some pictures, or I'll link to the Variety Vista listing of this one, but just a really pretty coin. And this one graded Mint State 65 with the DDO FS 103 listing. So I'll throw that True View up there and try to point out some of the doubling. All right, next up we have a Washington quarter, as should be no shock at this point. But this one is a type B reverse. So you see the leaf touching down there, the arrows terminate behind the end of this leaf, and there's that pronounced space in the ENS. This was the proof reverse that was used on some circulation strikes from 56 through 64. A lot of people will tell you that it was on accident. I do not believe that. I believe it was an intentional cost savings issue. These mint sets, which a lot of these can be found in, were done at the end of the year when the proofs had already been struck and they were done and retired. So they would just recycle them and use them on the regular circulation stripes, and you ended up with the Type B reverse. Typically you want at least a 65 on these. 64 is a little bit light, but it did get the designation. And I will throw up the True Views right now. So I'm going to set this one right back in here, and I will come back to it because that label is kind of going to drive my OCD nuts a little bit, and I'll explain that to you in a second. So next up, we have a Denver struck Washington quarter. This one is not as clean as the other examples. So you got a scratch on the eagle breast. That left wing has a nice little hit on it. A little bit lower grade, so you see some marks on the right wing. It's a 59, but it's got that big, heavy, distracting reed mark out in the field. Again, lower mint state. This one, Mint State 63 with the RPM, the FS 501 D over D. And I will show that and the True View right now. All right, so next up we have another Type B reverse Washington quarter, and you see there is a hit on the Eagles leg there. There's some hits in the left wing. The obverse, again, not quite as clean. It's got that hit in the hair. 1959. I do think the tone or lack thereof is a little more attractive than the 60 was. But this one, again, got a MS64. And again, with the Type B reverse. Throw the true views up. So again, I'm going to take those two coins, those two Type Bs, and I'm going to set them off to the side here. And then I'm going to show this next coin, which is, again, a Type B reverse. But this one is beautifully toned. Very, very pretty reverse. Got some nice oranges, a little bit of blues and purples in there. This one came out of a mint set. I actually cherry picked it live on Trader B's Whatnot. And again, I understand most of you will probably not like the skin look on this one, but it does have some pretty orange tone to it if you get it in the light. But when you kind of turn it, there's that skin, as most people refer to it, where it's got that haze from being in that old cardboard album for so long. This one is a 1957, which is probably the easiest year to find a Type B reverse. 56 year being the first, 57 being the most common, and this one got a mint state 66. All right, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit real quick, and I'm going to show you these three coins. So these are the three Type B reverses. And anybody else see what's going on here with these labels? They call these two the FS 901 Type B reverse. They didn't spell it out on this one, and they put it in a different order. This was the same submission. I don't understand why the syntax change on this. I mean, it's very strange to me. They were all three, well, actually all four, including the D over D, submitted under the Variety Attribution Service, same service. They just put these two in as FS 901 Type B reverse, and this one is Type B reverse abbreviated, FS 901. Again, does it really affect anything? No. Does it kind of drive my OCD nuts? Yeah, it does a little bit, but you know, it's just probably just me problem. I just figured I'd point it out because it's a little bit funny. It's very strange that they would do that on the same order, but it is what it is. So next up, zoom back in here. So next up, we have a proof Lincoln Memorial Cent. So you see it has been wiped back in the day. It's got some hairlines to it. Not surprising. Most of these have that don't come directly out of a proof set. So it is a 1953, but it is most definitely a red proof Lincoln. And this one is a proof 64 red. Again, I'll throw the true view up. So this coin is actually a little bit better. I thought this was the weakest of the proofs that I actually sent in. The Franklin half dollar had been wiped fairly aggressively. I still have that. I just probably need to sell it. I just haven't gotten around to it. This one I thought was probably going to be the weakest of the proofs I did send in because it had been wiped. You see some hairlines there. So that's how these are typically graded. But I will take a 64, especially with it getting the red designation, so can't be too mad at it. I think it's about a $40 coin in that grade. So next up, we have the 53 Jefferson nickel. And this one, I'm not seeing nearly as many hairlines. There's a couple maybe from being moved in and out of albums. This was originally a Capitol holder or a similar. I think it might have been a Whitman holder. But you see, it's kind of got some peripheral tone to it. Looks fairly attractive to me. I mean, I like this coin. I like the tone on it. Doesn't have any cameo, but again, most of these don't, especially the nickels. But this one, yeah, it's got a little bit of tone. This one only got a 63, and I'm confused on that one. I think that's a little weak. You tell me what you think on this. I'll be perfectly honest and go ahead and kind of spoil the next two. I did not do well on these proofs. I really didn't. I guess I overlooked a lot with them, but I'll throw that TrueView up right now. And then I will move on to probably the most disappointing coin out of this entire submission for me. Just look at that beautiful reverse on this coin. That looks cameo to me. You can kind of turn it and it doesn't disappear. You turn it away and you still see the cameo. It's not deep cameo, I'll give you that, but even the obverse has some cameo to it on this one. So this one, again, it's not deep cameo. You can't turn it all the way and still see it. It's got some fairly attractive-ish toning, depending on how you look at it. Not a ton of wipe marks on there. There's a few. But this one only got a proof 64. Now, I can understand the grade being a little lower because it has been wiped, but not putting a cameo designation on this one feels wrong to me. I mean, maybe, again, I don't claim to be an expert on these. I don't grade a ton of old proofs, although I've definitely dabbled in some of these, and I've seen coins that I felt had less cameo than this one that got the designation. But I want you to look at this reverse, and then I want you to look at the TrueView. That picture next to that reverse is absolutely criminal how bad it makes this coin look. I am not happy with the TrueViews on this coin. It does not look as bad as they made it look. I mean, they made this coin look like absolute garbage, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. This was, to me, this was the one I was the most optimistic on out of the entire proof set. And it comes back a 64 with no cameo, and they make it look like it's basically been burnished in a fire or something. I mean, the TrueViews look terrible on that coin. And honestly, the Washington, which again, I didn't have a 53, it's got a little tiny bit of cameo to it, and not a ton. I could see not calling this one a cameo, but there's definitely some there. I mean, especially on the reverse. Now, the obverse, again, I also think has some cameo to it, but it's got a lot more distracting marks. I can see the grade being lower, but I still could see that one being called a cameo. Maybe not, but this one got a proof 63. So let me go ahead and throw the TrueViews up. So this one is very much in the same boat as the Roosevelt on that one, where I think there was enough for a cameo designation. Again, I'm not claiming it's deep cameo, but I mean, come on. Just look at there's enough there, I feel like, especially on the reverse. Maybe not on the obverse, I'll give you that. It's not as strong, but proof 63 is just kind of a slap in the face on that one. So, not great, but let's move on to some coins that we did a little bit better on. So these next three were Walking Liberties bought from Rob Fine's Treasure. And again, I think these were done back in March of this year, and they are beautiful. He broke up some original BU rolls, and I bought one of each date, and I sent them in. And I'll probably put a link to his video right up here at the top, right there, and you can take a look and see what he got on his coins that he sent in. He obviously kept the best ones, which I do not blame him in the slightest. But just look how clean the fields on this one are. There's a few marks out here, especially on this side. There's that one kind of distracting mark on the dress. Down here, you could almost say it was scratched. I can't remember if it was this one. I don't think it was this one. But this 1938 out of Philly got a Mint State 65. And I'll throw that true view up for you right now. So this, I think, in their price guide is about a $375 coin, and if I go back, I think I got them for around 120, 130 bucks. So I did really well on those. So thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. These are gorgeous coins, and I'm glad to have them in my collection. Next up, got another Walker. Again, this one's really pretty, similar tone to it. Got a couple more marks on the Eagles wing right there, that upper wing. But this one is a 1937, and this is one I was scared of. So see that mark right there? I was scared that they were going to call this a wheel mark. I don't think it is. I looked at it, but I was just, knowing how they do Washington quarters, I figured they would call it a wheel mark. But they did not. And they called it an MS63. Now, they may have net graded it, because this coin, I think, overall, except for on the sun rays there, I think overall this was probably the cleanest one of the three. Maybe not. Maybe I was just overlooking it, and I was focused on that tone mark to it. But I will take a Mint State 63 all day long on that beautiful coin. Let me throw the true view up for you, and I'll move on to the next one. All right, next up we have one more Walker. And again, this one's got a few more distracting marks in the reverse. Definitely those 3 or 4 reed marks right there do not help the cause any. But, overall, really clean again, really beautiful kind of gold tone to it. Luster for days on this thing. I mean, it is nice. So, got a little bit more chatter in the field than, I guess, the first one. Sun rays are a little bit better. Doesn't have that distracting tone mark, and the seam on the dress is a little bit nicer. So this one got a Mint State 64. So I think that last one, which I personally thought was a cleaner coin than this one, I think this one was probably net graded a little bit. But let me go ahead and throw that true view up for you right now. And we'll go ahead and get into the last 2 coins, first of which is this New Orleans minted Morgan. And if you look at that reverse, and this one is actually a crackout. I'll go ahead and throw that in here. So 1899 New Orleans, and I want you to kind of focus on the cheek on this coin. See how you got a bunch of little parallel lines, and they kind of turn when you turn the coin, and kind of down on the neck as well. But you don't see that really anywhere else in the fields or anywhere else on this coin. I think this coin had the cheek and the neck touched up or whizzed or smoothed or however you want to call it. Originally, this was in an NNC holder, and they called it a Mint State 66, which if those marks aren't there on the cheek, I could see it being a 65. But they called it a 66 PCGS 61. So not too butthurt about that. This certification, this grade, was really kind of moot anyway. I mean, they're not a reputable third-party grader, and you can see the lines on the cheek and on the neck, and you kind of see how the luster, it goes dark a little bit. Kind of looks a little too reflective. I'm honestly surprised they didn't details grade this coin, but I will take a 61. I think it's a very, very pretty coin for 61. I think it's still nice for an uncirculated coin anyway. But I will go ahead and throw the True View up, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about a little bit on that one. So let me throw them up right now. All right, and last but not least, we have yet another crackout. So another Morgan, this one out of Philly. Again, the reverse always looks good on a Morgan. I don't know why, I don't know how, but they always look better on the reverse than they do on the obverse. It's like there's no hits on the reverse, and I don't know how you do that. I really don't. Because the Eagle's chest has maybe 2-3 hits on it, but otherwise just very minor chatter. The obverse has a really pretty peripheral tone, nice little orange, sunfired looking tone there. The cheek, you have much more obvious marks on this coin right there, but those surfaces look all original. So kind of see how there's still luster there. There's no dark spots. There's no parallel lines on the bag marks. They're just there. You do have a little bit out in the field and behind the head. Very cool coin, very pretty. Again, wish those distracting marks weren't there on the cheek. Originally, this one was called a Mint State 63 by PCI, and PCGS said that was close, and they gave it a Mint State 62. And I tend to agree with the 62, just based on that cheek. Those reed marks are very heavy and distracting, but that one is a very pretty coin. I'll throw that True View up for you right now. So overall, that was it. 19 coin submission. I think we did really well on all but the 63D. I think that was kind of a wash, but I wanted to see what they would say about this coin just due to the lack of luster. See how muted that is? It's just not very pretty. Even for a Washington, it happens. But the proofs did not good. So these two especially, I'm upset about how bad the True Views look on those. The Jefferson and the Lincoln, I think these turned out great as far as the True Views. Grades are a little harsh, but I'm okay with them. In all honesty, I think they're probably fairly graded. These two, not so much. I think the grade on this one is too harsh. I think it probably deserved a cameo, or I mean something, just plus maybe, I don't know. But the True Views just make these two coins look awful, and I don't think it's fair how badly they look if you look at them in hand. Maybe it doesn't come across on video. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just biased on these. It does definitely have some scuff marks. So again, the grade on this one is what it is, but the lack of cameo designation on those two kind of hurts a little bit. I think the big winner of the whole submission was this 1938 in Mint State 65. Just an absolute beautiful coin. Glad to have it. And honestly, all three of these Walkers. They're just beautiful coins. Just really glad to have them. Thank you, Rob. Again, appreciate that. And congrats on your grades. Again, if you haven't watched his yet, go watch his unboxing. He did really well on those. But overall, I'm happy with the submission. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you made it this long, thanks for watching.